This is SSN.
Story Studio Network.
Welcome to the Leading Ladies Networking After Show podcast. I'm your host, Erin Trafford. All right, so it's been a couple of months since the giant celebration in downtown Halifax, and I think it's a bit of an understatement to say so much has happened. And at the time of this recording, we are coming hot off of the Leading Ladies event in Mahone Bay, Nova Scotia. Menna Riley, founder of Leading Ladies Networking, has in the last couple months launched her signature program. It's up and running right now. And I have noticed that we are right into conference season. Some really fun, amazing conference speaking announcements coming from some of the wonderful women who frequent the Leading Ladies events. So we just have a lot to talk about today. And joining me in the SSN studio, of course, Menna Riley, who looks beautiful in blue, and Anita Kirkbride, who I feel like I've known you forever. And I feel like you need no introduction. However, I will introduce you anyway. Founder, owner of Twirp Communications, also the principal founder of Social Media Day Halifax. So, hello, ladies. Welcome into the after show.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Hello.
Well, I mean, okay, so I don't know how long it's been since we last chatted, but I really do feel like, Menna, you've made magic happen. How's the program going?
It's going so well. I'm really proud. And look, I'm going to sound, this is tooting my own horn, definitely, because Anita's in the program. But it's going so well. And I'm really seeing people take strides in getting actual results out of, tapping into and leveraging their network and achieving their goals. So I could not be more proud.
And busy.
A little bit busy.
And busy. A little bit busy. And Anita, you were in Mahone Bay, right? Did I see you in those pictures? I wasn't actually there, but I was like there in spirit and also knowing we were going to talk about it today. So how was it?
I was there. I did make it. I was an hour late, but I finally made it through traffic and got there.
And okay, well, what happens when you arrive late to a networking event? How do you handle that, Menna?
Well, Anita and I, we know each other pretty well. So she texted me like, oh, there's an accident, there's construction. I left in time, but I'm not going to make it in time. And I was like, don't rush. I want you to arrive cool, calm, and collected as always. But I'm going to keep announcing that you're coming until you tell me you're not coming. So I'm so happy she made it. And honestly, Anita, you walked in cool as a cucumber.
I walked in, it felt like I was coming home to something. Everybody's like, oh my God, you made it. And I was so excited to be there finally. It felt like this grand entrance that, it was just so weird and fun and lovely to be welcomed like that.
And can I say, Anita, I feel like, as I mentioned off the top, you and I have known each other a very long time. And I feel like in the last 6 or 8 months, you've really had another coming out. I was going to say a second go around, but I feel like we're always constantly reinventing ourselves. Yeah. But you've stepped out in a new way. And I'm curious how that has changed your approach to networking now. Same business, different you, different approach. How are you approaching networking differently?
Well, it is different. Spicy Anita is my new alter ego. And she comes out and is just not afraid to say what's what. So Spicy Anita is not afraid to walk up to that person standing alone at the bar at a networking event and talk to them. I did that a couple of times in Mahone Bay as a wing woman. And, it's they say you build confidence by doing the thing. So I am just doing the thing and building my confidence back up after taking time off. And it's liberating. It really is just liberating to go and say, you know what? There's lots of people here I know, but there's also some people here I don't know. I need to meet them. I'm just going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's the worst that's going to happen? They're not going to bite me.
And if they did, that would be a hilarious story that you could tell on podcasts.
I'd like to see the spicy reaction to that.
Menna, have we ever had a biting incident at a leading ladies event?
No,
I feel no.
I could go through the testimonials and double check, but I'm pretty sure we're safe there.
What makes the Mahone Bay events different than the Halifax ones? I mean, besides they're probably a little bit smaller, but is there a different vibe? Is there a different ask? Is there what's different about them?
Well, I would say, and Anita, I'd love your opinion on this, but I would say it's like the downtown Halifax events are really hustle and bustly, and just there's something magical that happens when you take the networking event just out of the downtown core. I don't know if it's just that people can find parking and they're a little bit more chill when they walk in the door, but it's like their shoulders go down just a bit because they're in a little bit more of a relaxed space, and you can really get that vibe. People are just a little bit more comfortable walking in the room, and but we still get a really broad mix of people who go to all of the events, who go to some of the events, and newbies.
Mm-hmm. And has there been, I don't know how to really ask this, but because I think networking is just an ever thus thing that we all have to constantly work on and be aware of. But would you say that is there a theme this year that you're noticing in terms of the questions or the support that people want? Is there something new to networking that's happening now that we're roughly halfway through the year?
I think I think it really has a lot to do with still coming out of that pandemic state of mind. Mm-hmm. So we have a couple of struggles that we have to constantly work at overcoming. One is, having these things around all the time,
the phones,
getting up from behind the screen, but then our only solace was behind the screen during COVID. So it's almost like we all have to kind of relearn how to put ourselves back out there. And like what Anita's doing with a fresh, I will take no prisoners. I'm just going to be myself, unapologetically, authentically myself. And I'm going to go back out there. And I bet you're getting better results from doing that.
Anita?
Definitely lots of people saying, oh my gosh, I love this new spicy Anita. People are surprised when I don't show up in the red leather jacket, but that thing is hot. So summer is it's gonna have to take a break.
That's spicy. That's too spicy.
Yeah, people notice.
It's too spicy. It's too spicy for 28-degree weather.
Spicy. Yeah, no, people definitely notice because it is different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're noticing, and it's great. It's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
How do you find, Anita, that you pull business out of these networking events? Because I don't know, for me, as I've looked at my human design and my Myers-Briggs and all that, is that it's funny, there's this undercurrent. And even when I worked in the newsroom as a journalist or as a reporter, part of that is networking. It's sourcing. It's getting information from people. It's, so-and-so knows so-and-so knows so-and-so, so you can follow that thread. And that's how I tend to approach networking events. Is I don't always expect to walk in the door and meet somebody right away that's going to say, all right, let's meet next week and do business. It's more of this like cumulative thing. I don't know if either of you have that experience as well.
Well, to be honest, it's that exact process that I signed up to take Menna's course for.
Love it.
Because I love going to networking events, and I would go and I would just talk to people, but I didn't have any processes in place for the tracking and the follow-up and just thinking strategically about why I was going to events. I was just going because they were fun and I'd meet people and I could walk into certain events and feel like a homecoming. But Menna's course is reminding me all of the things that I need to do to actually turn that into business. And that's, yes. Heart-shaped hands.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I love Menna. I've known her almost as long as I've known you, Erin, and it's been really good for that. So just reminding me of the things that, if I thought about it logistically, I probably knew I needed to do, but I need somebody there saying, have you thought about this? Have you done this? Here are the templates. Here's how you track it. Don't forget to do this. And it's just, it's the kick in the pants I needed to get going again after taking all that time off.
And can I just add to that, if you don't mind? That's an analogy I use with networking is you can go to the beach and have a great day. You can come away thinking, oh my gosh, what a beautiful day. It was really nice. I had a really fun time. Or you can go to the beach with a metal detector and find all the treasure underneath the surface. And so that's what happens when you apply a framework. It changes your perspective on what's in the room and how to access it.
I like that segue, Menna. You made that perfectly, because what I want to actually talk about, and I teased this in the beginning, is we are in conference season. And Anita, you did a brave, bold thing, I don't know how many years ago, and just decided to launch what is now, I think, one of Halifax's premier social media events.
Well,
It is.
I think
it is too.
Yeah, this year is our 7th year, our 6th conference, our 5th in-person conference. We did one virtual, and then we took a year off during COVID as well. So it's our 7th year for Social Media Day Halifax.
That's wild.
And it is wild. I can't believe it. I'm already, every year I think, am I going to do it again? But I'm already kind of thinking, how are we going to celebrate 10 years? Because that's not that far off.
As you say that, I'm like, I feel like I've had multiple conversations with you where that's come out of your mouth. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to do it again. But then you always do. Yeah. And it's always something
we always do.
Celebrated.
We always do.
And Menna, I saw you posted you're speaking at the Halifax Chamber event, or you're part of that big event coming up too, right?
I'm hosting a big breakout session on networking at the Halifax Chamber of Commerce Wonder Woman Conference. So that's taking place on June 14th.
Okay.
But Anita's Social Media Day Halifax is taking place June 7th, the week before. So we have a big lineup just between the two of us even.
Yes.
Followed by the next Leading Ladies Networking on June 20th. So we have pretty solid calendars.
Yes, June is the month. And I'm going to be at a big radio event on June 2nd, speaking on a panel. So I guess really where I want to take this is when you're in a conference environment, it's a different networking approach. Yes? And so, Menna, what are the top tips we need to think about? A couple things come to mind when we're selecting whether we invest in going to a conference. How do we know if this is the right room to be in? Is the right metal under the surface for us? Can we assess that ahead of time? And then once we're there, given that there's a lot of structure around conferences, how do we facilitate those authentic connections to make sure that we're kind of extracting the most value?
Okay, excellent questions. I am going to fire off a couple strategies. One is to understand your ideal customer profile, or your ICP. If you can really boil down who those ideal customers are for your business or clients for contracts, etc., then you have a good idea of who you want to connect with at this conference. And I would highly recommend contacting the organizers. And I repeat this every time. I do not leave this fact out, this detail. Do not contact them the day of the conference.
Okay.
So make sure you contact them well in advance and say, hey, do you have anyone that meets this criteria or that you can introduce me to either leading up to in advance or at the event? So already you're going with a little bit more purpose that way. Mm-hmm. And then as far as connecting with people at the event, I would say all of us can probably speak to this in some fashion or another. But when you need to be on all day, you really need to take care of yourself. So you need to make sure you're putting in place, what do I need in order to feel great all day? That day. I probably need to start working on it right now. But make sure you reverse engineer what you're going to need. Like, I'm going to need all of the water. I'm going to make sure I take my vitamins and get a good night's sleep like every night before so that I'm bringing my best self forward. So those are just some of the tips I would definitely focus on for sure. But contact people in advance. Make sure you're ask for the help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anita, what about you?
I have a couple of things I would add to that. Check to see if your event has an event app. So social media day, we have one. We haven't quite finalized it for this year yet, but there will be one where you'll see your schedule on your phone. So if you change, want to check the schedule throughout the day, but you can also connect with the speakers or connect with other attendees through that. You can comment on things. So there's all kinds of stuff that can happen on those apps. And the other thing I tell people is go with a burning question. Like, what is your one burning question that you need answered at this? Whether it's somebody you need to meet or something you want to learn. I think we think of all conferences as an opportunity to learn, but today we're talking about how to network. So I went to a huge industry conference, Social Media Marketing World, a few years back. The time that I went, I had a question to ask all of the celebrities that were there. So all the big social media gurus that I follow. And it was my way of introducing myself to them and going up to speak to them. I would just ask them a question on video. I came home and I put those videos to use on social media. So go with that one burning question that you can ask anybody, and just, what are you going to do with those answers? Mm-hmm. So know that you have a plan, and you always have something to ask any person that, you're standing in the lunch line. Well, ask them your question.
How much does social media now play into the networking follow-up? Like, does that count, Menna? Does it count? Are there hierarchies of follow-up?
Okay, so obviously there's so many different strategies, and I know, Anita, you can speak to this as well, but I would say I always recommend that you ask people how they prefer to be followed up with. So speak using their language, speak to their terms. If someone just sends me a message, I'm going to be checking email. It's probably going to be in my junk folder. I'm going to check LinkedIn. I'm going to check Instagram, which account. There's so many places. So I like to say, ask the person how they prefer to be followed up with. And if it is on social media, like, let's get a networking selfie and I'll tag you. We'll link up on LinkedIn, that kind of thing. So just feel out for the other person what their comfort zone is, and then follow up accordingly. Mm-hmm.
Anita, do you have any thoughts on that? I feel like you do.
No, actually, I was at a networking event last week with this. I saw you there, actually, Erin, at the Center for Women in Business. Yep. and We Be Canada. And we were asking all the people we were meeting with, how would you like to be followed up with? And I had a variety of answers. Some people said email. One person had a special contact QR code thing that we used. So it really is different for everybody. And the first thing that I do is go to LinkedIn and try and connect with everybody there, of course, because that's really easy to do. Mm-hmm. But that's not always the best way to follow up for a sales conversation.
Yes, agreed. I was at that Weeby event, and you know what? I realized one tip for conferences now that I will make, or networking events, can I wear flat shoes? Can I wear flat shoes? We're talking about coming out of the pandemic. I feel like now I'm like, if I have to wear high heels, I don't know. I just don't know.
I don't know. I love me some heels, so I'm going to wear heels if I can.
I mean, I guess it's a choice in footwear, but there would have been a day and time probably in 2019 when the expectation would be that we go to these things wearing heels. Now I go wearing Nikes. I'm just saying that's the expectation I will set for myself. Because if you don't want to work with me because I'm wearing Nikes, I mean, really? That's my rationale.
No, I think Anita can be spicy and you can be in flats.
Okay, perfect. I mean, That's why I chose radio, right? I'll draw the line. I won't wear a ball cap. How about that? Okay. So let's talk about June. We're back in Halifax for the Leading Ladies event. Is there a theme? Should we be preparing?
Well, it's going to be in our new Halifax home because we just moved into a new restaurant with a new restaurant group. We had a couple events there. It was a beautiful space, incredible service and food, etc. But I think it was the very first course I was teaching live, and my phone starts blowing up, and everyone's going, Tribeca's closed, the restaurant closed.
Oh dear.
You need to find another venue. And I'm like, okay, one thing at a time. I'm like kind of focusing on connecting with everyone in my program right now. So as soon as I got off that call, I actually got an email from a woman that attended the 50th Leading Ladies event. And she said, I know you have a deal with these, like you work with sponsors, you have connections, you have collaborations. But in case you ever, need a new spot, please come over here. And so I called her the next day or that day actually. And I said, you know what? I'm glad you reached out because I need a spot.
So can you announce where the spot is? Is it public knowledge? Tell us.
It's not public knowledge yet. It will be in the next couple of days to the mailing list. So I think it might work out timing wise for this podcast episode, but it will be at the Halifax Club.
I gasped like I got married there.
You
did? Yes. And I haven't been back there in 11 years.
Well,
so that's exciting.
Changed.
I know it's
They
changed.
Renovated it. It's beautiful. I used to be on the board there. So I have really, great warm feelings about the club, but trust me, it's so beautiful. All the women are going to really enjoy it.
Oh
so
my
it's
goodness.
The perfect new home for it.
It is. And you know what? Not to go too deep into the ladies aspect of this, but there was a time in modern history where this event would not have been allowed to happen there. So the fact that you've made it happen there, Menna, through the magic of networking, opening possibilities, there's a little God wink right there, I think.
There you go. It's a full circle moment.
I think it's wonderful.
I'm very proud of
that.
Yeah.
Anita, can you give us any spicy hints of what to expect at Social Media Day?
I don't know if there's anything that's not out there publicly already. I think all the details are there. We've moved over to Dartmouth Crossing this year. Linda and I were just there this morning, actually checking out the space and planning where everything's going to go. We've got Sheena Russell is our keynote speaker from Made with Local. 15 great sessions from local speakers talking about everything from storytelling to how to make reels to how to do Facebook ads and chatbots and ChatGPT and all the stuff that everybody's wondering about. So I don't know that there's anything secret that I can leak out anymore. It's kind of all out there already.
Just go and experience the magic at the movie theater.
Yes, at the movie theater. We do have popcorn in the afternoon, so that's, some people really like that about being in the theater. But it's a really good venue. Like, we call it the Introverts Conference. I don't know if other people feel this way or not, but we think it's a great conference for introverts because you come and you get a nice comfy seat in a dark room. And if you are an introvert, you don't have to talk to very many people if you don't want to. You've got one person on either side of you, maybe one in front of you. You're not at a table of 10 where you feel like you have to make small talk with a whole group of people. So you can kind of get to know one or two people at a time. It's accessible. It's, there's free parking. It's all the good things about a conference. And we really love having it at that place at Cineplex.
Yeah.
Well, I am so excited for June. I think the next time we meet to do a recording session, we're going to have even more cool magic to talk about. So thank you, ladies, for joining us today.
Thank you.
What do I want to say? Live long and go network, as the nerds would say. Get your business cards out. Go make connections. Thanks for listening.
Connections, one conversation at a time.
Thanks again for listening. And don't forget to share and subscribe, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. You know what to do. Also, if you'd like to be featured on the after show, then check out the show notes for how to get in touch with either Menna or myself. The other way you can do that is just make sure you're following Leading Ladies over on social and DM either Menna or myself. All those links in the show notes where you'd expect to find them. Again, thanks for listening. For the whole team here at Story Studio Network, I'm Erin Trafford. Until next time.
We know podcasts.
Story Studio Network.